Good morning. Shanna Lemke here, certified functional medicine health coach and Young Living brand partner. And I'm here today with Albert Liu. He is the owner of Idaho Movement Academy. And I'm really excited. We met back in January at an event that I held called The Truth About Your Health. And I was really grateful to have you show up and have such a shared interest in not only people's overall health and well-being, but overall in what's happening in the world, what's been happening, the fact that we want to know the truth and we want to be treated fairly, right? So it was a cool event. I was really happy to have met you there, and we've gotten together a few times and done some things together. Albert has a really cool studio style type gym, small gym. I love that. I love that it's such a different experience than going to a big box gym. Getting that intimate support from somebody at a studio style gym is much different. So I'm not going to take up all the time talking. Albert, I want to turn it over to you and tell us more about you. Tell us, how about your academy, about how you got into this role.
Cool. Thanks for having me, Shanna.
Absolutely.
It was great meeting you then too in January and hearing a little bit more about what's going on, packaged in a certain way that maybe I hadn't heard before. So it was good, and that's why I'm trying to connect with you, maybe deliver what you're delivering a little more to the world. So
awesome.
As far as me goes, I go. I'm a certified CrossFit trainer / CrossFit level 3 trainer. I'm a certified run technique specialist, as well as precision nutrition level 1. So being able to coach people nutrition as well. I'm currently in a fellowship called a precision medicine health coaching fellowship. So in order to become a precision medicine health coach. Let's see, what else am I doing? I've been running this place called Idahome Movement Academy, home of Audacious CrossFit, as of last November. And started Idahome Movement Academy 5 years ago up here in Boise. And been doing group classes, one-on-ones, running workshops, clinics, seminars as well. Cool stuff like Spartan race and obstacle course races like that, and all kinds of events. And I've been trying to open others' minds and eyes to what they're capable of, really, and that they can do more. And there's everything under the sun that we can do, and my role is to guide them to that place. So
that's awesome. And I know you travel too. You travel with your training, teaching people how to run correctly, and something we take for granted, right? We just assume you just run, but there really is a technique and a skill to it.
Yeah, it's been a worthy pursuit for me. I mean, I got into the whole teaching the running thing just for myself first, learning that, I can really do this and I can do well at it. Actually running, gone to like 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons, all that stuff as I was doing the whole fitness thing. And I was like, well, I can really do this. And then I saw that it was totally possible to help someone with that as well. So I just started coaching people in running, teaching people how to run, and then coach them through the process of running events and like qualifying for like jobs that they're supposed to have based on like run scores. And it's been worthy, and I see it in my eyes as the most pure thing I can do. Having someone just change their paradigm, what running is and what movement is in general, and then opening all kinds of doors and giving hope to now, I can actually do this and do better and not hurt. It's priceless.
It is. Yeah. I love that you said that. And especially the part about I can do this and not hurt. Like I have been, whatever, in the fitness industry for over 20 years and trained under Sue Hitzman with the MELT method for I think about 5 of those years. And what she would always say is there's a dirty little secret in the fitness industry, and that is we're all in pain. And so we can't avoid that. Like there's certainly things that we can do to not beat ourselves up while we're trying to improve ourselves. Like the ultimate goal is to get better, not just look good, but feel like garbage, right? So that's awesome. So I want to back up for just a second. So we mentioned we're in Idaho, we're in Boise, Idaho. I know I do have people throughout the United States, California, a lot of Californians, and some in Florida and different locations. Do you train virtually, or is it specifically face to face?
I can do virtually as well. So the process would be like, okay, so if this one person from Orange County, where I came from initially, they'd be like, hey, I want to improve my 5K time. And I'll be like, okay, go and send me a video of you running. Send me a profile of you running by the camera. And I could from there assess how they are running technically, objectively, and then give them the data, those data. And then from there, assign them programming or assigning drills, exercises to work on to improve their technique so that they can finally do their race training and then improve their running that way. So
Okay.
I can do that over Zoom like this initially and check in obviously along the way, but that's totally possible. Like I don't need any equipment. Like I'll show up to a park and meet with someone, and so again, it's been pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's one of the cool things that has come out of this whole pandemic, is that it really opened up kind of the world in a different way. Like, we've been forced back home. A lot of people have been forced back home to work from home, and we're not going out and doing things like we used to, but it really opened up the virtual world. I know I see a lot more people virtually now than I did before, because it was just like, well, we could just meet anywhere before. And then as things changed and started closing down, we had to get creative. And so that expanded what I'm doing to be able to help my California people or my Florida people or my Canada people or whatever, that, I'm able to do that, where before it was just not as necessary, I guess. And now with people more at home, I don't think that's going to change, that people are working from home. I think that's how it is now for the most part. I know of a few people that have gone back to their actual offices outside of their home. But I think for a lot of people, they like being home and working from home and doing the things at home. I know we have a home gym ourselves now, rather than we were going to a big box gym, which is not my preference, like I said. So I think that's a valuable tool, that you're able to help people virtually right where they are. I can help you right where you are. And you mentioned no equipment, like, my husband said the other day, we're both overweight right now, and he said, we were out taking a walk. He said, maybe we should carry some weights while we're walking. I'm like, I am carrying a weight. I'm carrying like 60 pounds extra right now. I don't need more weights on me right now, But anyway, side note. So tell me, you kind of mentioned about how you got into the running coaching piece of it. How did you get into this whole fitness world? What was that for you like?
I was working in the medical device industry, like as a lab rat, just starting entry level after college. And then 18 months into that, I got old, so I decided to make a change. I applied for Air Force officer training. That was in 2012. It was exactly 10 years ago that I finally set foot on OTS. So 2 weeks into training, I got hurt, medically discharged, and then found a real job. Woven through all that was I had started CrossFit, or my fitness journey essentially, through a college classmate. So at UCI, he was part of Army ROTC. And then when I finally knew I was going to OTS, I asked him, hey, so what's this CrossFit thing you're doing that you're showing people that you're doing, getting in shape? He was like, oh, just come over with me to the gym. And so I accompanied him he took me to CrossFit Irvine back then. And then I did my first group class with them. And then I realized, oh, this is what I need to be doing to get in shape, obviously. So I was doing like classes there a few times a week, and then like ran because I needed to get my run time up and all that. So I was doing that routine up until I left. So it was April 2012 when I left to go to training. And then it paid off. So I was getting like really top scores in the running and fitness stuff, whatever we were doing there. But then unfortunately I was not able to continue that career. So when I got back, recovered, and I found the real job, I got into the routine again of things. So going to work, 7 to 4, driving over to the gym at 4:30 for class then. And so I did that for a couple of years, just doing my own thing at the CrossFit gym. And then like, 2 years later, then I went and did my level 1 course to learn a little more and be able to coach. So then I started taking on more responsibilities and learning from my coach then. And then that started, so 2011, 2012 was when I first little thing started. And then 2014 is when I started to turn around and start helping people.
Very cool. You haven't looked back.
Nope.
That's awesome. So you mentioned Audacious CrossFit. So I know there are a lot of CrossFit studios. Audacious CrossFit, is that like your specific studio term? And what's unique about Audacious CrossFit as opposed to, I think every single trainer, every single person, I mean, we all have our uniqueness about us. What's unique? What is your philosophy or your style, or what is different about you that people would really want your CrossFit instruction?
So I think now, taking on the CrossFit name, the license, as of last November, I'm one of, is it 13 or 14,000 CrossFit affiliates out there around the world. There's obviously a huge percentage of that in the United States, but I think I'm one of like probably 20-ish in this area. I think something like that. I have to count on the map, but the let's see. One of our clients here, one of our athletes, team members, he coached people in speaking skills and presentation skills to sell. And he actually included me in his little book, compilation book about turning point stories. And then I told him this part of the story I just told you, and then the journey to get here. And one thing he got from that, he's just like crystallized all down to one word, just reflecting on me telling him a story and helping me with it. He said freedom. So from there, when I got the CrossFit name end of last year, I just wanted to put down like core values essentially, or like northern stars to shoot for. And so I went ahead and changed the text or the description at the top right of our website. Originally it said our Idahome gym for better fitness and health. And then the whole freedom thing I heard from him, I just stuck it in there. I just changed it to our Idahome gym for independence. With that, once I got that new name, underneath on that first page of the website, I wrote down 4 freedoms. So the 4 freedoms now, just like kind of we hear from like FDR way back then, the 4 freedoms that me, myself, and my goal of getting everyone to is freedom of nutrition, freedom from pain and disease, freedom of movement, and freedom of thought. And the vehicle, the medium that I have is using the physical side, to improve physiology, all that, but also tap into the mind. And, if we improve the body, it'll improve the mind. If we improve the mind, it'll improve the body as well. So it's kind of a synergistic thing that we do. And I don't see many places advertise it that way, that we're trying to get to ultimate like independence from pharmaceuticals, from big food, big sugar. What else is there? The medical industry, all this stuff, right? That we know of, that we've been talking about for a long time now.
Yeah.
And it's the taglines are lose weight, get fit, all these terms, there are these buzzwords and hooks that all these other places out there advertise with, and I'm not about that. These are the targets we're shooting for. These 4 things, or independence in general, like you doing your own thing, being self-reliant. That's the most important thing. I'm having you get to. And the vehicle again is we're going to teach you how to move, how to eat, and as a consequence, then you'll get away from pain and disease, and you'll be able to think better. Yeah. And then with being able to think better, you can make better decisions for yourself, for your family, for your friends, for your neighborhood, for your county, your city, your state, and the world. So I see it that way. I'm the whole thinking globally, acting locally thing. That's my goal. That's my intent, I guess. And then specifically down to nuts and bolts about what we do here is, so I have group classes every day. And in order to join us, we assess you. So I kind of liken it to like U.S. Army Special Forces, the Green Berets, or any kind of special operations group that you try to get into. They take a whole big pool of people, 100 people at a time, for example, and then they assess them, and they make sure they're choosing the best out of that 100 to be able to eventually train them to become them that way. So we find out where you are in your physical sense. There's a system we use called the level method, and we find 15 different categories of physical skills, essentially. And each one of these 15, we find your level, and it's assigned a certain color. So like in martial arts, we start out as a white belt, and we move up all the way to a black belt. And there's all the different colors and belts in between. We find each individual color and belt, essentially, for your 15 skills. Once we assess you, we find out where you are, we know your overall level of fitness, and then from there, you're accepted or chosen to be joining the tribe, joining the team. And I see it that way, that you're joining a special group, and we're all on a certain mission, right, for that independence, or all that. And we all have the intent of moving forward and improving. And then with this method of athletic progression, level method thing, we see our progress, we track that progress over time. And the programming with the exercises and the movement stuff we're doing here is I've been operating on like quarterly cycles. So for example, right now, we're in the 2nd week of our spring assessment cycle, and we get through all 15 categories again as a group. And then we find ourselves moving up through the levels as well, or even moving down, or staying or maintaining based on life, based on stuff that's happened, or the programming, the training that we've been doing. Then following this week, we start our next 12-week cycle. So we'll train up to be able to assess again in the summer. So end of June, beginning of July, we'll do this all again. And then my role then is I'm looking at everyone's levels and how they progress from last cycle to now, and see what we gained in, what we lost in, what we maintained in. And my goal is in the 12 weeks leading up to summer is to program for that, to shore everyone's weaknesses up, for example, or bring those lower levels up, and whatever categories that I'm seeing as a pattern. So I do the day-to-day programming and coaching for the classes, and trying to progress everyone up their fitness and health journey. So,
well, I had forgotten our common link when you first came to my event. And my goal has always been, back when I worked with an older demographic, like I worked with 70 to 100-year-olds, my goal was independence, keeping them independent in their own home safely. And then I kind of shifted and changed that word from independence to freedom. And so I remember that came back to me as you were talking. When you gave me your card, you said, look, it says free, all of my 4 freedoms. And it was like, oh, cool. Wow. It's cool to meet, a brother at heart, right? Like we're so after the same thing. And I think it's just invaluable because, being free from big pharma, being free from chemicals, being free in our own body, being free in our mind, is huge. It's huge, and again, a lot of people are focused on how they look, which I'm not saying don't be. I mean, I hear you. We want to look a certain way, but that's not the whole thing, right? There's so much, we're not pieces and parts. We're one whole person. We're a whole being. Everything is connected. You mentioned, connecting the mind to the body. Like we're all connected. It's, kind of similar to if you're having an issue in the brain, and you go to a neurologist, but maybe that issue is actually stemming from the gut, but they're not putting that together, in most allopathic medical protocols, right? You either go to the brain person or you go to the bone person, or you go to the gut person or whatever. But you have that holistic outlook on how to help somebody. It's a whole person. It's not just about getting their muscles strong. And I think that's invaluable. That's huge. And then talking about how you've got people at different levels with the assessment. That's really cool. I haven't heard of that before outside of like karate or something like that. I haven't heard that, having different belts or different colors. So for me, I can honestly say for me that the idea of CrossFit sounds intimidating to me, but the way that you described it, and back in my fitness day, I was in great shape. I'm not right now, but I'm getting there. I'm working on it, getting there. But I've always thought of CrossFit as something really intimidating, and but having people at different levels makes great sense. So is there ever somebody that shows up that you just say, you know what, it isn't for you, I can't help you? Is there somebody, I mean, there's got to be, if a 95-year-old frail little lady came in, you'd probably, I don't know. I don't know, but I'm imagining, the type of people that you're probably getting. In my brain, that says they're already fit, they're maintaining and getting fitter with you, but correct me on that.
I would be able to help that 95-year-old
Okay, good.
or that 60-year-old or that 50-year-old. That's like kind of the average for our group here right now.
Mm-hmm.
Based on that map, the very like bottom level, for example, the front squat, to be able to hold a weight on your body in the front rack position, to be able to squat, stand up and down, sit up, squat down, stand up.
Yeah.
The base movement for that, before even putting the weight on yourself, is be able to squat down yourself, right? And there are levels at the very beginning where you have to be able to squat down to a certain height, right? And this height could be something like your toilet height.
Sure.
20, 24 inch, 30 inch high that you sit your butt down to and you stand back up. So someone who's 95, hopefully if they come and we assess them as, hey, being able to squat to 30 inches at least, then cool, we're at a good starting point.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then just goes up from there. So we, for them, this could be a really, on my end, really patient process of getting through that. And then, yeah, there's people who come in really fit already, and they might be pretty good in some of these categories, but not as well in these other categories because they haven't maybe approached their fitness in that more general way, where we're trying to do most, if not all, things at a good level, but not the best. So that's what CrossFit means. So for some education now for you and the audience out there is our ability to have an increased work capacity across broad time and modal domains. That's what CrossFit means. Your fitness. So your work capacity across your broad time and modal domains is your fitness that we can actually measure. We can observable, it's observable, it's measurable, and it's repeatable. So all these different things we can do out there as activities and movements and exercises, we can generate a power output out of that. And we can use these power numbers, these data, to track our progress over time. And it all boils down to like the stopwatch time. Like, how long does it take you to do X thing?
Mm-hmm.
And if it takes you 10 less seconds next time, let me rhyme, 10 fewer seconds next time, then it means you're fitter in that aspect. And people, to be able to do that in all kinds of things, snowboarding or squatting, bench pressing, running, anything, that's the point. They're trying to chase all these different things and making them at a good level.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what that means. That's what, and then CrossFit is trying to do constantly varied functional movements at relatively high intensity. So you're constantly varying, or make sure your routines, you're always doing something different almost, of functional movements. These functional movements are things that we all humans do, full body exercises, multiple joints, that get stuff done, that exerts power.
Right.
And at high intensities, meaning that we're always pushing the boundaries of our technique of these functional movements. At these higher speeds, heavier weights, and long distances, we can test our technique. If it starts to falter at a certain distance or speed or weight, then okay, we know our technique's only limited to that. It's good to that point, and we need to make sure we get practice and drill and everything before moving on again to heavier weights and longer distances and faster speeds. And it's that intensity piece that shows us where we're really at, and we improve it over time. And to improve our intensity and what we're doing means, okay, we're getting fitter. In a general way of doing things is we're going to do something high intensity one day, low intensity another, something in medium, and vary that up throughout the weeks and months and years. And the point is to do that so that from year to year, our fitness improves. And with our fitness improving over our lifetime, that means our health is improving.
Right.
So health means our fitness throughout our lifetime. And again, those are all measurable, all observable, all repeatable. And we just take data over time to address and to progress everything. And the whole map thing, it's a good tool to use for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't think of one single person that doesn't need what you're doing, that doesn't need strength training, that doesn't need, people might think, well, I don't care if I'm fit or not. Well, you talked about functional movement, and there's so many things that we do on a daily basis that we take for granted. Opening the car door. Moving, maybe we're going to move to a new house, packing up boxes and being able to gardening. I was in the yard all weekend planting trees, all of these things that we really do take for granted, standing for any length of time to prepare a meal. After age, I think it's 25, we human beings start losing, what is it? Is it 1% or 3%? I can't remember the percentage, but we start losing muscle mass every year after age 25. That's young. So, you put all that together to, 50, 55, 60, 65. And the good news is you can get that back. You can get muscle back, but if it's something that we don't do, we need it. We need to be doing the things, because the fact is we're not hunter-gatherers anymore. Most people aren't doing, well, there are, you've got your laborers and you've got your office workers. But I always tell my laborers, that's what you do every day, but that's not really exercise, because it's not, maybe not repetitive, or maybe you're not getting your heart rate to a certain point. You have no idea what your level is. You can probably be doing a lot more than that to maintain your overall health and fitness. So they're two different things, but the fact is we all need to be working on our muscle strength, our balance, our fitness, our heart, all of these things, instead of taking for granted, or that's not the wrong term, instead of just believing that, well, I'm getting older and this is part of it. No, it's not. No, it's not. Getting weaker, falling apart, not being able to do things, being dysfunctional in your own body, that's not normal aging. It's common. It's what we see. It's very common. I remember doing fitness assessments on my people years ago, and all of them, and again, these were 70 to 100-year-old people, all of them were off the charts in strength, in balance, in cardiovascular fitness. They were all off my chart. And I thought about that for a long time, because I was like telling him, wow, you're doing so great. You're off my chart. You're in better shape than most. That's, not normal. But then the more I thought about it, I'm like, wait a second. Who was the basis of these charts? Like, where did this data come from? Right? They took probably, I don't know, let's say 100 people within these age groups and said, let's measure your fitness. And whatever seemed to be the average, that's what they said was normal, right? But just like bell curves, when you're doing lab assessments, when you're doing lab work, normal levels doesn't mean shit. Sorry, it doesn't. It just doesn't. It depends on, we're all different. And it depends on who they tested as their norm, right? Same thing goes for fitness levels. I'm betting that your people are high up there too. But it just was a real a thinker for me, like, am I really doing something that amazing with all of these people that they're off my charts? No, it's not really that it's something so amazing, or that I've got supermen in my group or whatever, superwomen in my group. It's that they are consistent and they're doing the thing, they're doing the work. Therefore, they've gotten out of normal levels, or what I prefer to say is common levels, what we see every day, to what is possible. I worked with Jack LaLanne years ago, and I had him come. He was my keynote speaker in an event. And back in his day, when he was, I think it was 75, he would do crazy things, right? He lived in the Bay Area, and he would swim like to Alcatraz, towing 75 bows. Like, why were you doing that? He was doing it to prove a point. He was doing it to show, it wasn't about him showing off. It was a real passion for him to show people what was possible at 75 years old, and to stop thinking about what's common as normal. It's not normal. This world, the food, the pharma, the sitting, the assumption, that's what's creating this new normal that you and I are like, yeah, no, no. Let's have freedom in our health and in our bodies. Let's have that again, right? So I really love what you're doing, and I just can't think of one single person that doesn't need it. I'm imagining that your people are lifers with you. I'm imagining that they just stay with you. It sounds like a family, a community, a friendship. And I think it just sounds really, really cool. Your place, your Idahome Movement Academy sounds unique and a place people would want to be. And as they're assessing, I know for me, as I'm regaining my strength and getting, back into a condition I used to have, it's empowering. It's like, oh, I can't wait to go work out again today. I'm excited to do it. I see things happening. So I'm really grateful for you and what you're doing in this world for people. And how do you help those people that still have that block in their mind? They're like, I can't show up all the time, or they show up for a few weeks and then they drop off and they come back, and they're just really lacking that consistency, because I know consistency is everything. And when we're not being consistent, we don't see the results. And then we tend to blame the modality or the location or whatever, instead of going, wait a second, I'm the one being inconsistent. So how do you handle that?
I think me personally in this role is I've got to care first, care for the person, and then understanding or being patient with what they've got going on in their life. You know, job thing, family stuff, worldwide pandemic virus thing. Those things happen. And I know that this fitness and health thing, it's over our lifetime. So I know we have time. And as long as there's touch points of me with that person, what if it's in person, if it's by text, by phone call, by email, by Zoom, those all will help. So in my way of setting the standard and then getting them to whatever goal they're trying to get to. If it's just saying one word to them that day, that minute, it's going to help, right? It's going to help steer that heading, their ship in that one direction, ever so slightly. I know if I just keep doing that for them and caring and being consistent with that, that'll help. We have people here who are traveling salesmen, for example, and I'm just always checking in with them, like, oh, you're on the road this week, all right, so cool. You can still move, you can still try your best to do something if you're gone, right? And then all our trainings up on an app anyway, they can keep track and do stuff at their hotel gym, or they could drop in another gym as well, another level method gym, maybe in the state or city they're in. They can look it up and do the same thing. But someone who is not all there, it's just reminding them what their why is, what their ultimate purpose is. It's not maybe the surface level thing of, oh, I want to look good. It's as my job is to dig even deeper than that. Why after why after why after why after why after why, to figure out what their ultimate root cause is, to help them keep that fire going, to keep doing well, keep eating well, keep moving. That's the ultimate. That's where the money is made. Trying to help someone do that. So.
Yeah. That's where I split off. So now I'm not teaching, I'm not doing the personal training anymore. But I've gone off, into the health coaching piece of it, which is what you're describing, is, checking in, holding them accountable. I know for me, I need accountability, not as much as I used to. I can hold myself accountable finally, but I was at a point where I really needed that accountability. It's kind of like, well, if nobody's looking, it doesn't count. If I miss today, I can do it tomorrow. I can put it off. Nobody else is paying attention, or is locked in our house or whatever is going on. I don't need to do the thing. I need that accountability. And I've gotten myself, through working with other coaches to hold myself accountable. And certainly anybody can do that. But for a lot of us, we need that person helping us to stay accountable to ourselves. I help people with the small goals. Let's look at the big goal, and then let's break it down. Like your big audacious goal is to, do whatever in 12 months. Well, okay, let's chunk it down. And where do you want to be in a week? Where do you want to be in 3 weeks? Where do you want to be in 6 weeks? And not only that, but what do we have coming up that, you're going to be traveling for the next week? Okay, let's really go through that and figure out how can you keep doing, how can we stay on track while you're traveling? Of course, unforeseen things happen. Who knew this was going to happen 2.5 years ago or 2 years ago, however long it's been? Who knew? Or, somebody, you have an injury or, a major family event or something. Of course, things happen. But oftentimes I find when people decide they've got some big goal, they want to start doing something and really make some lifestyle change, they completely forget to look at the overall picture of what's coming up. I had a friend mention the other day that they're starting this big diet, and it requires like a gallon of water a day and completely different foods than they're eating, and two exercise sessions a day, which they're not doing at all right now, type of thing. And then they said, well, but we're traveling next week, so I can't start yet. And it's like, but wait a sec, is that the last time you're ever going to travel? Or is that the last time, how can we come up with a plan to start making this work right now, today? What little things can you do that you can take with you on your travels to keep doing every day? Maybe it's just getting a water bottle that you can take with you traveling, you can, you have a way to clean it, whatever, and you're drinking, whatever. Maybe that's your simple little goal that you're getting it, you're moving. And maybe the other thing is this diet really sustainable? Is this something you're going to be doing for the rest of your life that's going to be sustainable? Let's look at that too. So I help people, like look at the big picture, chunk it down, look at the obstacles that are always going to come up. There's always going to be something, right? It's never just free sailing and life is just easy. It just doesn't happen that way. And then celebrating progress and milestones with them. And so I operate differently, but in partnership. So, with personal trainers, with functional medicine physicians, and work together that way. So
that was a really good perspective on asking someone, is that going to be the last time you ever travel? and working through that. Yeah, that was really good. And I think I know what you're talking about, that program. I know you probably won't say it, but I'll just say it anyway. But the whole program about 75 hard, doing that thing for 75 days and all that. My challenge is, can we lay it on the gauntlet or the standard for someone? Can you make it 365 hard?
Yeah.
Not just a month and a half, right? Or whatever it is. So that's a standard we're trying to set here, that hey, everyone's going to be drinking minimum but half body weight ounces. Everyone's going to be trying to eat as clean as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Having good nutrition, right? Proper nutrition, not dieting. I'm all about word choice and definitions and of how it affects the mind and how our decisions are. And like the word diet, that's always been like a connotation of a temporary thing, and
Right.
you're always depriving something or losing something or not having something. It can't be that. We always got to think of the positive, the move us in the right direction, forward direction. And now approaching it as a nutrition or lifestyle, like we're going to slowly chip away to get to this specific way of eating well and then living a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the coaching comes in. Yeah, like injecting these little tasks, these action steps one at a time, and making sure that it's down pat before laying another one on, right? That's really important. Yep, I like that.
Yeah, creating sustainability. I mean, I think so many people, I've always said, if I say something about my diet, what I mean is, for me, what I mean is the way that I eat. I don't mean a start and a stop and deprivation, because it doesn't last, right? It's not, I love the word sustainable. It's not sustainable. You're not going to do that, like you said, 365 days, because you're going to feel like, I can't have this, but I really want it. And then you're going to do it. Whatever. Right. It's about coming to terms with that, and figuring out what's important, what's sustainable, how can you make this work? That doesn't mean you can never have a piece of cake at a birthday party again, type of thing, or in December everything just blows up because you're going to so many parties. Whatever. It's like, let's create a lifestyle that's sustainable.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, in terms of nutrition, then it's having just a hypothetical or standard to follow as best we can. Having meats and vegetables, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, no sugar. That's a good general way of starting. And if we can hit that like 80% of the time, yeah, cool. And then with all family and events and work and all that stuff going on, you can have those little deviations here and there, but you know what the standard is, so you know how and when get back to that. Mm-hmm. And if you're operating like that most of the time and living like that, then things should be moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
But if we're eating junk food all the time, eating out at a Carl's Jr. all the time, then probably not the best, right?
Right. Yeah. Or, being like, oh, well, I messed up today, I can't do this. Well, wait a sec. Yes, you can. Let's figure it out. Let's get you back on track. And, pretty soon, before you know it, you have less of those days where you messed up or whatever. And more days, that 80-20, more days where you're actually doing all the good things for your body. And I think it comes down to also really getting people to want to take care of themselves, to like who they are, to love themselves enough to actually want to do good things to themselves. Right. I heard, who was it? I can't remember who just said this or where I saw it, but they said, I think it was something on Instagram, a little, whatever those things are, a little video on Instagram. And they were saying, instead of, why don't you spend the weekend that was this particular video. Spend the weekend creating the life that you want instead of spending the weekend running away from the life you don't want. Instead of doing the things that tear you back down, why don't you do good things and start moving towards, the things that you want? Oh, we could literally talk all day, I think.
Yeah, I think we could.
But we could wrap this up. Is there anything that we didn't talk about that you wanted to mention?
Maybe contact information.
Yep. So
yeah.
tell us that, and I'll put it in the notes as well. So yeah, tell us.
Sure. You guys can look up Idahome Movement Academy. That's another kind of domain name .academy. So I just went and bought that.
Okay.
And then audaciouscrossfit.com.
Okay.
Those essentially all go to the same place. And then Instagram, we're on there. Facebook, there's a Facebook page for Idahome Movement Academy as well. The local number here I got was 208-579-2176.
Okay. I will put that all in the notes on the bottom of the video.
Yep.
And I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate what you're doing, like I said, for people locally in the world at large. I mean, I think every life that we can free up, the better we become as a whole. So thank you for what you do. Contact information will be in the notes. And I really appreciate your time, and I look forward to getting together again soon.
Thank you, Shanna, for having me and highlight me. Thank you.
You bet. You bet. Have a great day, Albert.